Merry meet and welcome to Lux Dragon Queen Magic. I'm Taylor and here is our Divine Masculine Collective reading. So this is for anyone, no matter how you identify yourself, because no matter what, you could be here checking in on a relationship, you could be checking in on the collective as a whole, or just looking to understand and balancing the energies within yourself. So with that, let's go ahead and get started with our Divine Masculine reading. So right off the bat, we have our God card coming out as Lover. I am in love. And I'll go ahead and turn it around. Oh, sorry. And so you may want to pause, take a screenshot for this, but let's go ahead and continue with the intuitive reading. So something that is really coming through from Spirit right now is that the Divine Masculine very much is wanting to enter this sense of complete love again. So we're seeing that they've been going through some isolation, some really hard heartbreaks where they've been needing to exact their boundaries and really and pull away from those who are not really supporting them. And so now what's interesting is coming up is that there is a need to interact again with the world, but to also understand exactly what it means to have healthy boundaries. And so ultimately, what's going to be coming up for everyone within this reading is that you are going to be wanting to support those around you, and Spirit is wanting you to understand exactly how you can be supportive of others while supporting yourself. And so there is a very interesting question of empathy that comes into this, and it message coming through is that the Divine Masculine is not used to empathy, and whether for themselves or having it for others. And due to that, this is why there's this very weird energy around. So it is a very emotional time for both sides of the Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine. And what's happening is ultimately Spirit is trying to support and guide through all of the craziness that is happening. That's why right now, at the time of this reading, a lot of people are being told to kind of rest and relax and let the emotions come through as they do. There's a lot of communication that is needed right now, and a lot of truths that are being revealed. And with truth being revealed, there's typically a lot of pain that is revealed, and so there's also a lot of forgiveness that is being asked for. And all of that grace and love and light really comes into what it means to be truly in love with the universe and with those around you, and to have spiritual love. So that is what's coming through for the Divine Masculine. Let's go ahead and take a further look into the cards. So for our angel cards, interesting. So something I'm going to go ahead and note about this card is Strength, and then it actually is the imagery for the rest of the deck. So something that is coming through is that this is a confirmation from Spirit that through these changes, okay, there's two messages here. So take what resonates for you as always. But the first message is that you have the strength to move forward in these changes and to move forward in this love. The other thing that is coming through in regards to it is saying this is a confirmation of your strength of character. So it really is, this card is really meant to be more of a confirmation. So no matter how you take it, you can label yourself as strong, as someone who has strength. And you are also someone who is able to move forward, is what I'm hearing. So a lot of times what we're going to be seeing right now within the collective is that it's going to seem impossible to move forward. There's going to be a lot of hardships that it seems very difficult to overcome. And ultimately Spirit is, and I'm also getting the sense, oh, we don't have any tarot this week. I'm also getting Ace of Swords energy as well from this, in the sense of sometimes it just takes like a simple idea or clarity or truth in order to be able to move forward. So this is Spirit also stating, okay, also stating that if you are struggling in any areas, that understanding the truth of it will help illuminate, or the truth will be revealed to you very soon. So again, this is a very big confirmation card. So if you have been feeling unsure and you around the future, around moving forward in any direction, Spirit is here to confirm for you that not only do you have the ability within you, but there is guidance surrounding you that is coming all the way. So this is very important for any of those who are within a relationship right now and you're feeling very confused. Spirit is confirming that there is truth on the way. And yes, that truth may not be exactly what you want to hear, but it's going to be a needed truth for you to overcome your obstacles, and that is part of your strength. So yeah, it's kind of this very interesting infinity energy coming through in regards to love and strength and being able to overcome these obstacles. And now these are messages again for everyone here. It just is dependent upon your situation and what you were struggling with. So let's get our next one. Okay, so the next one we have is Inner Peace. And so something too about inner peace I'm being called to point out is the fact that it is number 26, which does go add up into 8, which is the Strength card in tarot. And so we are seeing this very beautiful synchronicity of one leading to the other. Also, for those of us here who, this is an angel card, but I'm there's a lot of fairy magic within this card, right? And so there is this very interesting eclectic faith of understanding maybe where you find the magic and peace in your soul. And so that may be through, I'm hearing like ancestral magic, that may be through like fairy magic, I'm hearing mermaid magic. Yeah, elemental. I'm hearing a lot of elemental magic. Okay, those actually, I think I just listed a whole bunch of different elements that are represented by magical creatures. So really what's coming through in regards to this is it's not just confirmation that like, yes, you will receive inner peace, but it is more like inner peace is available to you as soon as you ask for it. So there's a sense of disconnection from your true source of power, however you view that. And this is spirit asking you to kind of draw within yourself again in order to find the truth of the situation and find the truth of your soul in order to recognize the peace that you have available to you. Okay, so we were seeing a lot of this retreat energy, and then we're seeing like now you need to understand your boundaries a little bit more. So with that, let's go ahead and step into the next card. And so we have the beautiful opportunity card coming forward from you. And so this is, again, kind of confirmation that as the truth and opportunities reveal themselves, as the truth reveals themselves to you and you're able to regain your strength, you're going to start recognizing the opportunity that is before you. So for everyone here, there is a certain opportunity that is asking you to move forward. I'm sensing that there is a lot of fear in regards to this, which is why Spirit is asking you to be the embodiment of the lover and to just fully be in love with the opportunity that is stepping forward. Something coming through too, we've seen within Divine Feminine, so as always, those messages do still relate to here, is this level of discernment. So as a Divine Masculine, you do still also have that level of discernment, and just doesn't, sorry, I'm speaking really fast without breathing. The thing about your reading now is that you aren't very focused on the discernment because you're more focused on the exploration of everything. And so something coming through those that there are these hardships and obstacles that have been coming up against you and making it a little bit more difficult that you've drawn away from, but now you're interacting with, is why you're needing to understand that you do also have this level of discernment and that you do understand how to recognize a true opportunity that is meant for you and how to move forward. So again, it is kind of this echoing confirmation that as you understand that you have this strength within you, as you understand that you have this inner peace within you, you will see the opportunity that is meant for you. So these are the building stones in regards to what you're working on and what you need to overcome, especially in regards to love and forgiveness. So please keep that in mind, right? We do still have some other cards, of course, for us here today, but if nothing else for today, you can take away these building blocks of recognizing where the strength is in your life, recognizing then how that strength gives you peace, and then you're able to see the opportunity of your future. Okay, now we do have our soul cards. You may want to meditate on the image and you may have your own interpretations that come up. So the reason why I'm saying that is since this is a collective reading, of course, I'm going to try and give you all of the messages that I possibly can, but ultimately these soul cards will ignite something within your soul as well. And you may connect to your intuition and sense a certain message that is meant just for your individual soul. So again, I encourage you to go ahead, pause this video if you need to for just a quick 30 seconds, take a few deep breaths before continuing and just seeing if there's any messages that you need to hear in addition. So for me, the main energy that I'm getting from this is there's a certain sense of divine timing and moving forward with that divine timing, as well as the sense of when you get a relay runner. So when you're a relay runner and you are carrying a baton in order to move forward, the actual handoff of the baton is actually something that is practiced quite a bit because it can make or break the entire run for everyone in the relay race. And so this is the energy that is coming forward right now, is that you are the one with the baton. You were handed the baton and you have practiced handing off the baton. I'm seeing you've been given certain lessons within your life where you've been in very similar positions of authority, or you have learned from similar positions of authority. And so now, though, you are the one carrying the baton and you are the one running forward in order to hand off the baton. So for some of you, this literally is going to be about parenting, by the way, and your family and relationships. That comes up often within here because a lot of times within the divine twin flame relationships, we're going to see that there's a certain focus around the sense of legacy. So definitely take it however it resonates. The other thing though really coming forward is this sense of illumination. So it is almost as if you are running in the dark, but the moon has been guiding you this whole time, but certain things are changing. So night is turning into day. I'm seeing in the past, this has happened before. Night has turned into day and given way to certain lights and illuminations for you. But you weren't necessarily ready to receive those certain messages. So now it's coming time again, right? You were practicing in the race and you were just running and training before, but now that you're actually in the race, you're seeing the true changings of time, because those are confirmations that you are doing what you are meant to be doing. So again, this is a good confirmation card in regards of following divine timing and understanding that anything now that you were facing before, if you were I'm seeing if you're being confused around the fact of what you're experiencing now and you're like, I've gone through this again, I don't understand why I'm needing to go through it again. It's because you were learning those lessons in the first phase and now you're applying the lessons almost to the point of being able to teach. So take that how it resonates. For some of you, it's going to be like you yourself are in fact a teacher and you are able to apply the lessons that I just heard. Like if you have been like within therapy, like you're really starting to apply what it means to like have healthy boundaries in regards to those partners in life that you may have. And so you may have learned lessons, you may have gone through experiences where you're like, oh yes, I could have done better in this, or yes, there was this moment where the situation, like I wish I would have said these kind of things instead. And so now you're in a moment where these things are kind of, you're seeing a repetitive situation. For a lot of us, if you are confused around like the echoes within your life, I definitely encourage you to just look back at like years in time during this moment in time. So like for me, Easter is always a super transformational time, and I never know if it's going to be good or bad, but typically is always a very big release for me in my life that I have to work through. So you may look through your life and be like, oh, there is kind of like around every year around this time, something big happens in my life. And so now Spirit is saying like you're able to take all of those lessons from those echoes and understand now how to apply that into your life now to possibly end the echo, right? Or to start a new echo. So take that how it resonates for you. And then we do have another soul card. Okay. And again, you may want to pause. So the overall message I'm getting from this is that truth and clarity are coming out, and it is painful. So there is a very certain sense of mystery and mistake that you are diving into, and it is making you question your own faith. We've already kind of had that kind of come up multiple times within this channel, that there is a certain exploration of faith. And as always, we do encourage those to be eclectic in their faith and to remove any fear-based beliefs that they have around it. And so this is really, though, going to be signaling a lot of shadow work that is still happening on a very deep soul and heart level. So ultimately what I'm seeing, though, I'm seeing that this is something that you were meant to go through, because for most people who are especially viewing this at the time that this comes out, you are learning what it means to be a leader of a community. And what I mean by that is it isn't leadership that you asked for. And so you may have always been a leader, you may always be in like management positions, training positions, things like that. But this is on a much deeper level where you're feeling almost burdened by the request. Which is again why there's a certain level of strength that is missing, a certain level of peace that is missing, but there is an opportunity here for you. So I'm ultimately hearing from Spirit for you to, as you're working through the shadow and understanding exactly who and where you want to be in regards to your connection to your faith, to allow yourself a lot more grace, allow yourself to feel a lot more emotions, and allow yourself to understand where you want to have your firm boundaries with your own self. So there are certain things as you are exploring that like maybe you're not ready to explore now, and that is okay. And because what I'm seeing is that there is this very much big sense of overwhelm because there's so much to learn, there's so much to do, and like so little life to do. And you are seeing like there's so little time right now before this opportunity of leadership is made into manifestation. And so you're trying to really push yourself through these moments and get through these burdens and obstacles so that you can be fully realized and fully manifested. And Spirit is kind of coming through and asking you to be a lot more gentle with yourself and a lot more understanding in regards to how perfectly you are working within divine timing. So we do still have divine timing here, right? And so Spirit is wanting to just confirm for you that you are a beautiful soul who is going to always be in a constant state of motion, as terrifying, as upsetting as that may be, because especially as the divine masculine energy, we want to seek stability and we want to have certain firm boundaries defined and not move or change after that. So this is a little bit of understanding how boundaries are able to move while not letting yourself feel compromised. So that's how we invite new perspectives. That's how we grow and learn and shift those boundaries. So something I'm hearing come from the Spirit is like a lot of times we build walls around like our minds and our hearts. And so it's really hard to move a wall because you typically have to completely break it down. And then if you really want a wall, you have to rebuild it where it makes sense. But if your boundaries are constantly in a moment of flux right now, you don't want to break down that wall and then be unsure of where to build the new wall. So instead, Spirit is saying, stop building walls. Try to build something that is a lot more eclectic. Try to understand maybe just the respect of a boundary. So a lot of times, physical boundaries have to be created because there's not a certain respect for the boundaries that exist. So maybe there needs to be a little bit more communication and verbalization around your boundaries so that you can more properly have them situated into what makes sense for you and your heart and your morals. And then something coming through is if the person that you're communicating with still does not respect those boundaries and it makes you want to build a wall between you and that person, instead just communicate, hey, this boundary was disrespected, so I'm going to go ahead and step further away, and I'm not asking you to follow me. I'm asking us to increase the amount of distance between us. There, of course, are many different ways that we can phrase that can be a lot more helpful, and it's going to be dependent upon your situation, so definitely take it how it resonates. With that, let's go ahead and jump into the hidden truth. So, we actually did see the fact that truth was something that is definitely coming out and being talked about. Personally, I've noticed that there's been a lot of hidden agendas lately, and so it just felt really needed that we needed to dive a little bit deeper into the subconscious and see exactly what truth is hiding from us in these moments. So we actually had quite a few come out, so let's go ahead and just jump into them. I have too much to lose. Okay, just confirmation around the fact that you don't want to break down a wall, right? What would it mean for you to break down a wall? What would it mean for you to change your boundaries? I mean, how many of us want to expand? But then in order to expand, if that means building up new boundaries, if that means interacting with others and understanding where their boundaries are so that you're not overstepping them, then it feels like you have a lot to lose because you have a lot to communicate and you have a lot to share within yourself. And so it is a very interesting sense of vulnerability that is coming up in regards to rebuilding these. Okay. And then I feel so happy with you. So absolutely love this. So I know I just went into a lot of confirmation around like fear and the changes that are happening, but let's not forget that the ultimate card that is coming up for the Divine Collective today is the Lover. So no matter what, wherever you do have a partner that you feel happy with. I'm hearing from Spirit like that is 100% confirmation. It could be a friend, it could be a lover, it could be just a family member, it could be a coworker, but it is someone who supports you in this new exploration, right? It is someone who does not make you feel ashamed for who you are or for the way that you think. It is someone who loves you back. Okay. I wish we could go back. So this is very interesting because this is an kind of an energy that is coming up around not wanting to move forward. And so this is going to be very much in regards to wherever you are as a divine masculine. This doesn't necessarily have to be about a past connection for you. This just has to be more about not wanting to change. So something, I don't know if I've quoted it here. I feel like I quote it often, but something very interesting to know about change is that you do have to want it more than your current comfort, which says a lot. So especially if it is a change that you are making that is very different from the rest of your life. So ultimately what's coming up is that yes, this is an energy that is within you. And that is okay. It is okay to recognize that you do not want to change. It is okay that sometimes the change is scary in the moment of transition. So something coming through from spirit is just understanding the motivation about why you wanted to do this, and understanding, connecting with that person who loves you. That's why, again, we're having the lover come out and understanding where those firm boundaries are, because it's not just so that you, it's not just you wanting to express yourself in this new environment, it's you needing to feel it back too, right? The lover card is a duality card. No matter how it comes up, if it's in the tarot, if it's in an oracle or an archetype, it always is associated with something, someone else. So the reason why I'm putting that out there is because a lot of this reading, a lot of the energies that are surrounding the divine masculine right now and the divine feminine it is in fact hidden, and we're not wanting to recognize these different emotions because we're wanting to just move forward with what we're working on, but we are still feeling a little bit lost. We're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and spirit is saying it's okay to feel those things. You've learned these lessons, but you do need to understand where your strength comes from so that you can find that inner peace and recognize the opportunity in front of you. Okay, I don't know what you want. This is, okay, coming straight from the divine masculine, this is a very straightforward thing. That is definitely true, because there is not very much communication happening between the divine masculines and feminines. We saw it really only starting to come out last week. And honestly, what I'm seeing is that the divine feminines haven't been very trusting or accepting of these new energies. So they're not communicating back, especially, okay, sorry, I'm tuning into divine feminine a little bit here, but what I'm getting from the divine feminine is that they, the reason why the divine masculine will say that they don't know what the divine feminine side wants is because there's this certain ego death that kind of still has to happen. So the divine feminine has communicated in the past what they wanted. It isn't necessarily the same. We'll talk about that on Friday. And then, definitely not a message here. And then, but for the divine masculine, now that they're listening, they don't remember what was said in the past. And so there's this interesting communication blockage that is coming up where they're like, hey, I want to love you in the way that you want to be loved. But then what's happening is the divine feminine is like, I've already told you what that means. Why don't you remember? And yeah, so the divine masculine is trying to push through in the darkness without fully understanding. So again, I think that's why we're seeing some certain truths that are going to be coming to light, because you're like, hey, here's the truth of my situation. Oh, something interesting that came through. So if this really resonated for you and you were a person who is like, I really don't know what my partner wants in life, it's time to ask them, right? That's the best thing about the truth, is that you can just come forward. You can say, forgive me for how I was in the past. Forgive me for not being able to be that communicative partner that you deserved. Now I'm trying to learn and be a better partner and listen to you. So please forgive me for asking you this question that you have answered so many times before. But what do you want from me in this moment in time, and how can I be the best partner to support you? And just opening that conversation, and also asking for forgiveness, and something you can thank them too in the situation. You can say, like, thank you for the patience that you've shown me thus far. Thank you for believing me and carrying through and being the supportive family member that I needed in this moment, being my best friend even when I wasn't the best friend to you. And so this interesting of like, forgive me and thank you coming up between the divine masculine and them is going to be very supportive in regards to what they both need in order to move forward and break that connection. Or I'm sorry, not break, but heal that broken connection. All right, still just a couple more. I still have feelings for you. So what a great, beautiful confirmation for anyone who is here. So if you, okay, this is interesting, because I know there is a certain sense in this pile where there are some people who are saying goodbye to certain connections, right? And then there are some people who are saying hello to new connections. And so with that, there is a certain level, again, of discernment, of understanding which are the new beginnings, the new opportunities, and which are the things that are the obstacles that you're letting go and moving further from, not necessarily abandoning, but just moving further from, because it doesn't necessarily resonate with who you are and who you're becoming. So this is twofold, because the reason why I say that is because this is true. No matter if you're looking into a new connection, if you have a past connection, you still have feelings for all the parties involved. And that can be so conflicting and make you not want to move forward, right? We had this, I wish we could go back. So there is a certain sense I'm hearing from the divine masculine, a certain sense of responsibility around some past energies, and they might be like current energies that will soon become past energies, around the sense that you feel as if you had abandoned them, and that like you're not doing your duty, your responsibility, that you broke certain promises to them. And it's almost like you do want to communicate to them, if you haven't already, like you do have feelings for them. Like those memories don't go away, those feelings that you had don't necessarily go away, but there is a certain level of transformation and changes that do occur, and sometimes the relationship changes with it, and sometimes a relationship dies with it. And it really just depends upon the energies of both people. So something I'm pretty sure it's come up before in our divine readings is that when you're talking about love, you have the love for yourself, and you have to take care of yourself as a person. And then you have the care that you have for that other person and how you want to take care of that person, right? And then ultimately you have a third entity that is created, though, based off of that relation, based off of those two energies interacting with each other. That becomes your relationship. And you and that person are both putting energies into that third entity, right? And so it's not, so it always feels like it is a part of you. And so when that part of you is dissolving and not really necessarily has as much energy over it, or the energy is becoming negative, then that is very difficult to sometimes let go, because we can take it as a sense of failure, which, especially in our divine masculine energy, can be a very triggering aspect. And so ultimately what is coming forward with this "I still have feelings for you" is it is okay to recognize the feelings that you do have. That is a message for our divine masculines always, right? It's okay for you to recognize the feelings that you do have. It's okay for you to recognize where you are, where you've been, and where you're going. The other thing too I'm hearing is that for some of the, all right, last thing I'll say about that type of message is you're able to recognize the feelings that you had for this person, but also recognize the new feelings that you have coming in and why this change is for the better. And that's going to really help you with the motivation, right? That's going to show you your strength and give you the inner peace so that you can move into the new opportunity, whatever that may be. And then for those of you who are into these new connections, and what I'm seeing is that there was a certain, you're not communicating, divine masculines. I don't know why, because it seemed like you were going in that direction and then all of a sudden it just stopped. Yeah, I'm hearing like there is a sense of like maybe you thought you knew better, and so now you're needing to interact with your divine feminine a lot more closely, because your divine feminine is like, I need to see better, not just hear that you know better. Anyways, but so what I'm seeing though is that this is something that hasn't really been communicated in regards to those new connections. So it sounds like some of you here have a crush, and you aren't talking to your crush though. And so you might see like your crush kind of walking away, and you're like, oh no, I don't know what happened. And it's because you weren't really speaking up. And so that's ultimately the message that is coming up here, is for either side. So recognize the feelings that you do have and understand how those feelings are motivating you into a change from your past into your future, and however that looks and resonates. So we went over a couple of different examples. Definitely feel free to comment below, share a little bit more about your situation, and we can help I was going to say, you don't typically want to help it fit to any of your situation, but this is a collective reading, and ultimately this message is for everyone here in just different formats. All right, last but certainly not least, I compare others to you. Yes, this is just a great confirmation of kind of what we were just talking about. So what we're really seeing with our divine masculines is that they are struggling because of these comparisons. So that's really where the emotions of it is kind of coming through. That's where there's some clarity that's being needed to be seen. I'm hearing it's really interesting. Ultimately, what's coming forward, as much as you are in this lover energy and being asked to understand what love means to you, maybe that's part of it, right? It's because you need to understand your deepest emotions. And what a better emotion to understand than love? And like, because I'm hearing too, like I compare others to you, I'm hearing that you also compare yourself to your partner. You compare yourself to where your divine feminine energy is at. You compare your own journey to this person. So it's an interesting restrictive energy though when you decide to do this comparison. It's a restrictive energy for your partner as well. So however you are comparing, I just personally believe this. So some people might feel like flattered that like, oh yes, of course I don't compare to other people, and that's why you're still constantly wanting to seek me out and move forward into that new connection. Great and beautiful. This is more so for those who are struggling, who feel shame and guilt when they do compare, because they see it as a reflection of themselves and why they're doing poorly in life versus why they can do better. So that's really why this is more of a shadow card coming out right now, is because it is holding back. It's making you not communicate the information that you're learning and feeling because you're just comparing and judging yourself based off of those comparisons. And your partner then, if you're probably not communicating this. Oh, okay, hold on. I'm sorry. This is twofold. Some of you are communicating it, and you're communicating it in a very like hero worship status, and it's irritating your divine feminine, okay? Because they're looking for a partner, not a fan. So they're looking for you to rise up. And I mean, they've been hearing messages too about how this rising up is happening within divine masculine. So for them to, like, yes, as much as they appreciate compliments, it's creating a gap between you guys. So that is something to note about this kind of sense of hero worship. The other thing with that is that that's, for some of you, your divine feminine is aware of the situation and they're still holding on because of this. But it is, you might be sensing a distance between you guys because of that, because they naturally aren't wanting to gravitate toward it, and they're thinking that you need to learn certain more lessons and recognize the love within yourself. Because I can almost guarantee anyone who is here, your divine feminine either stopped commenting whenever you talked about those kind of, whenever you started bringing up those kind of conversations, and so that they didn't encourage it. But in the beginning, I'm hearing they probably were like, I learned that from you, or I learned this in this way. Like they were trying to deflect it and be like, no, it comes from something else other than myself. I learned it. And then, or they're like, hey, you're doing this too. Or, hey, you have this quality that I do not have and I really respect. And you are just kind of like, again, not quite listening to what they're saying, just instead hearing your own shame and not recognizing the own truth of like your own soul growth. And so your divine feminine, not feeling heard, kind of stopped speaking. So that's really very interesting. Again, the divine feminine is like, I need to be heard because I did not mean to channel as much of the divine feminine into this reading right now, but it is really coming up that there is a gap that is kind of forming because there is this sense of not wanting to actually communicate and feel the feelings that you are in the middle of processing. And so there is this great confirmation for you again, just to understand what your thoughts and feelings are leading you to and why. All right. So now we do have some daily affirmations. So we do have a few, so definitely take what resonates for you and leave what doesn't. You can make a mix of these, or you may just want to take one whole message for you. Okay. I listen to the whispers inside my heart. Beautiful confirmation of recognizing that love and knowing what it means. I will measure today by how fully present I am. All right, I love this because we really, I know we had the word listen come out, but like to active listen means that you're very present within the conversation. And we're really seeing that there's a sense of looking within the past or future here. So what a great confirmation to take to be in the present moment and focus on today. And then finally, all of my emotions are part of my human experience. Yes. So again, beautiful confirmation that it is just time to understand your emotions and exactly where they're at. We are learning here how to be fully human and fully divine. So of course, within those human emotions, there is no shame to be had for just simply feeling something. So just understanding a little bit more about why you feel a certain way and how you react to that will help take you leagues into emotional understanding and bump you up in that emotional intelligence range. All right, now the last thing I'll do is I do have some letters for us. So I'm not going to come up with any words this time. I'm just going to go ahead and leave the letters for you guys to take them as they resonate with you and go down the rabbit hole as you need to. Okay. It helps if instead of just touching them, I flip them. All right, so we do have a couple W's. They might be M's, you never know. We have E's, we have 3 A's, B, N, U, couple E's, O, P, and an L. All right. With that, my divine masculines, I definitely appreciate you for being here. Please do not forget to comment below and gain some support from a like-minded community. Thank you for liking and subscribing, and I will definitely see you guys next time. Blessed be.